Hey y'all, it's Peach. Or better yet, just call me Meredith. Meredith. My name is Meredith. And this is Crooked Peach. I am separating seed garlic right now to cold stratify in the freezer. Because I actually did not know that you were supposed to cold stratify spring garlic. Because I don't know all the things about the garden. How would I? Just getting into year number 3, growing my own food, preserving my own food, and cooking with all of those preserved foods and herbs and whatnot, and plant medicine, and learning more and more about animal husbandry and regenerative gardening and frankly, healing the land. But boy, oh boy, this is not how I grew up. So this has not been, pardon me, this has not been the easiest journey. And I don't imagine that any of the rest of it is going to get any easier. But the lessons are amazing. So, as I said in the past, I am a city girl. I grew up in the city, and, almost 5 years ago now, we moved out here, out of the city, into the country. Well, as far into the country as we could get, because this is where I desired to be, but both my son and my man still have jobs that carried them back to the city on a daily basis. And I don't have to deal with that. Thank goodness. Because it just got to a point where I could not live in the city anymore. I just couldn't do it anymore. But anyway, so I grew up in the city. And I didn't know a thing about gardening. Matter of fact, growing up, I had to have been 13, at least, I think 13 years old before I even knew anyone. As like personally, like I had a friend whose parents owned the house that they lived in. Like everyone I knew rented, really, for the longest time. So they didn't have gardens. Nobody's growing gardens at a rental in the city. So, yeah, this is an entirely new way of life for me that I didn't actually realize that I wanted at all. I knew I wanted to be out of the city, but I had no idea that what I was really craving was the whole country life. I didn't have any idea. And so now I'm bumbling along, or whatever you would like to call it. You know, I make plenty of mistakes growing a garden, which I mainly do in-ground gardening. I do have a little bit of container kind of stuff, or things in small, pots within my garden, but generally speaking, I want everything grown directly right from the soil. That's where I want my food to come from, the earth. And I am, getting up there in age, about to be 55, and so you might think, oh well, don't you want to make it easier for yourself and raise everything up? And no, I don't. And I'll tell you why. Because I feel like every time I set myself up for convenience, like across the board, every time I've made the choice of convenience, there has been a price to pay that I didn't necessarily think about. So, using that and my crazy logic, what I feel for myself is that as long as I have tasks to perform and complete, I gotta keep going, right? So that's part of this whole life. Who would have thunk it? Never, not me. I'm telling you guys, I used to work sometimes a complete 24-hour cycle. I did a lot of gig work, delivering stuff through different companies and whatnot. So, and doing food deliveries as well as general deliveries and carting people around, Uber and Lyft and all that. And so I was just go all the time. Matter of fact, when I discovered gig work, which is what it was called, and I don't know, it might still be called that. I don't know. I'm out of the game. I'm not going back. I was amazed. When I first discovered gig work, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe there's all this money out here on the streets. But there's a lot of stress out there on the streets. And that whole entire life just got to be so overwhelming for me that I had to go. And thank goodness that I did, because I discovered that I'm supposed to be living a much slower pace of life. Zeus, if you would just allow someone to bathe you, it would solve your whole, like, I'm itchy issue. It's so annoying. Anyway, so I come to share with you two things. Number one, no matter how old you are, because I was already over 50 when I got out here, you can change your entire life. Like, legitimately. I can't tell you exactly how, because it's not like I designed this the way that it happened. I changed where I lived, and that started a whole, I think, pre-planned path to get me back to natural. And so that's where I'm headed. And this right here, let me show you really quickly what I'm doing. Again, like I said, I did not know you were supposed to cold stratify garlic. And that, in fact, because I had failed to do that, is exactly and precisely the reason that in the past, spring garlic for me has produced nothing but a single bulb. So apparently, and no, I didn't know this because I screw up a lot. It's a lot of information. It's a lot. I'm just taking my time and learning in a different way now. So it's supposed to be cold stratified, 3 to 4 weeks. Now I've seen this in lots of people's videos. I see lots and lots of people doing this, but they're doing it in big plastic bags, hefty plastic bags or Ziploc plastic bags or whatever. And I was like, wait, I have a lot of garlic, like a whole lot. I cannot fit that in hefty bags. And then I thought this would actually be much safer and sturdier. So I have a small, medium-ish sized delivery box from Amazon. And I have in layers, I have layered soil, and then my little garlic bulbs that I've broken up. And now I'm going to cover that with soil again. Then it's going to go in the freezer for 3 weeks. Actually, ideally, you're supposed to do it for 4 weeks, but I don't have 4 weeks, I don't think. So, 3 weeks. 1 second. Trusty Fox Farm. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I cannot stand having to spend money in the garden. At this point in time, this remains the one thing that I will eagerly purchase for the garden. To start the garden and to do something like this. Eagerly. It's an amazing soil. But I am in the process of creating this beautiful soil here on this property. Cannot wait to show you what's happening in the compost, but that's not going to happen today. Okay, so this is the rest of it. So I'm just making sure that every piece of garlic is in, gently packed, gently, don't smash it, gently packed in this soil. So they're going to get that soil exposure, but they're going to be in total darkness and in the freezer. So that's what I'm doing with this. Now I'm going to do the other way. Hold on. See, I'm not always that bright. Alright, so just like this. This is going in my deep freezer, or my little chest freezer. Yes, I have food in there. It's fine. It's just a little dirt. I promise. Anyway, if you are going to be planting garlic this spring, don't skip this step, or you're just going to end up with little balls that look like tiny baby onions and smell like garlic. It tastes like garlic, they're edible and all that. It just reduces your yield, and the bulb doesn't split properly. So if you skip this step, it's not going to, divide up into those tiny little beautiful bulbs on that head of garlic. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out and listening to me drone on and on. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye. Oops. Don't trip yourself, lady.